This is the preface to a documentary of my experience with a scorned ex-wife and a gender-biased family court system that goes far beyond the limits of normalcy and what is an outright war on fatherhood. And this isn't some every story has two sides. Maybe it's just mom and dad that hate each other. No, this story will show the lengths my ex-wife has gone to using CPS, the courts, law enforcement, my child's own medical history, and even the school to outright erase me from the picture. My story begins ironically when I started my career as an automotive technician. At around 30, I made the decision to start my career, a career that I love, and that's fixing vehicles. The irony is, I was happy when I started out in this career, had a bright future, met a woman, had a son. Now I'm a successful business owner, but successful without the one thing that matters to me in this life, and that's my son. I'm not here telling this story for retribution or to get back at the ex. No, my story needs to be told to help other fathers avoid the pitfalls of parental alienation, a gender-biased court system, gender-biased system in general, a system that was taken full advantage of by a woman that ignored court orders, slandered me in my son's medical file, and ultimately took my son from me, my friends, and my family. This story needs to be told because in 10 years, this has never been presented to the court. Never have I had the opportunity to present to the court proof of how loving, caring, and ultimately a good father I was and am. This story is about greed, money for the system in a high conflict divorce, an alienating mother, and ultimately the alienation and attempts to erase a father from a son's life. I know there are millions of fathers out there going through similar situations, millions of fathers that don't speak up, can't speak up, don't have the money to fight the cog of a gender-biased court system, where all the mother had to do was make false claims of domestic abuse from day one, and she's handed free money, free benefits, free housing, free attorneys, and what I believe is ultimately the sympathy she was looking for. The problem in this society today is everybody's concerned about an idea or what could happen. We have lost sight of people's unalienable rights in this country, right to freedom and happiness. I thought we lived in a society of equality and fairness. What I've come to find out in 10 years is the harsh reality that it's not fair and it's not equitable. A father has no rights, married or unmarried. We live in a world where people would rather tell lies, follow a false narrative, and ultimately not care about the truth. Where false allegations go unchecked, unwavered, and are allowed to tear at the fabric of what this country was built on. As I sit here telling my story, my side, my truth, my son is 11 years old. I've not seen my son Jackson since January of 2025. I was failed by attorneys that represented me early, the court system, and everyone involved that is there to allegedly protect my rights as a father. It's far too late, I fear, for me at this point to get my son back. Too much damage was allowed to happen by a gender-biased court system. Too much time was taken on false allegations and never given back. Too much of a lot of things. But my hope is this story is heard by some father across the country that is either starting this sad journey, in the middle of it, or the like. And maybe they can see some of the warning signs and do something different that I didn't have the ability to do. May it wake them up and others to realize the problem we have in this country with the all-out war on fatherhood. The things I was and continued to be subjected to by the mother are things no father, no person should have to go through. I've gone through many emotions along this journey, mostly angry and pissed off the last few years. Anger out of the lack of the ability to be able to deal with what was continuing to be done to me. Helpless to stop the hurt, stop the pain. There are far too many fathers out there that have given up, lost hope, turned to suicide. I know one of them personally. My parents were of the baby boomer generation. Times were much different back then and when I grew up. My parents, including my late father, were married till he died in 2022. They went through hard times, but they managed to repair and work at their marriage rather than throw things away, something that used to be such a revered thing in society. Family used to mean something. Children have two parents that both should have the equal right to enjoy time with their children. We are not all perfect, and as you will find out, the war against me personally and me being a father put me in some dark places. turn into the bottle to try and escape and cope with the reactive abuse that I was subjected to over the years, the attempts to alienate me, the failed court system, and ultimately the attempts to erase me in general. And there will be people out there hearing this and asking, why don't you just walk away? Why don't you stop playing the game? Just settle for what you get. Because no parent should have to endure what I've been subjected to in the last 10 years. No parent should have time taken on lies, moments missed in a child's life, memories missed, milestones, or the opportunity to be involved. Children need both parents. Learn from both parents. Men and women are different, but we should have equality and have the opportunity to raise the next generation of individuals in this country. Laws need to change in this country. Things in general need to change. We need to get back to the basics of a family-minded society and hold the parents who abuse the system accountable, regardless of gender. We need to protect the most precious individuals in the society, and that's the children. Children learn from both parents. Children deserve to have the opportunity to know and interact with both parents. I sit here now sober for an entire year. I have a successful business, but I am still missing the most important thing to me in this world, and that's my son. Stay tuned for part 1.